fight's not over.
Stop the fight!
People.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everybody. Ah!
All right, guys, welcome back to Broke Bets. We got our breakdown for you guys for UFC 290. I got Carson here with me.
Yes, sir. Let's get this party started.
Yep. By the way, guys, I know this is gonna be pre-recorded, so some of these fights might be different by the time you watch this video. However, we just realized Jack Della Maddalena lost his fight with Sean Brady. For a filler fight, I'm just going to say I'll pick Jack Della for whoever he's going to face. I think they're going to find a filler fight. So, moving into the first fight, we got Edgar Chairez versus Tatsuro Taira. And picking Tatsuro Taira here, Edgar is actually a good fighter. If you guys watch that Contender Series fight between him and Clayton Carpenter, really back and forth. And Edgar kneed him in the face, knocked him down in the first round, but the grappling over time ended up being his downfall. And he started very fast in that fight, which made him slow down late. And I think that Edgar does a lot of big actions, and as the fight goes on, it's more likely that he's just going to slow down a little bit, and that Taira, he has just such great control on the ground once he gets you down, takes the back, and I think he's got better stand-up than Clayton Carpenter, Taira, so I think that he can control this fight at range still, even on the feet, and work his way to the ground for a submission. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think he has a clear advantage here on the ground. This is 2 weeks away from him cutting weight, so I think his body will still be all right, but that is something to keep in mind. I thought they did say it was going to be catch weight at 130, but here on Tapology it says 125, so I'm not 100% sure. But I do think Taira coming in on short notice, Edgar is, and they're giving Taira a winnable fight here, so submission, round one.
Edgar is very long and hard to deal with, but what I really like about Taira at range is he keeps his range very well, and you can see that in his fight versus Carlos Candelario at moments. And I think his ability to step in, getting the takedown might be the first step, and it might take a little minute, but that top control, the control on the back, once he's there, it's going to be really hard for Edgar to win minutes back, and at minus 900, it's a big price tag for Taira, but maybe just betting the submission prop directly would be the best way to go.
Yeah, I mean, 900 is pretty much unplayable, so you're probably going to have to look at that if you want to bet on this fight, but I'll probably stay away from it.
Can you give me a Tatsuro Taira impression, Carson?
I'm happy.
You cut out.
I'm happy, thank you.
I'm happy, thank you! UFC! Okay, for the next fight, we have Cameron Saaiman versus Terrence Mitchell. Picking Cameron Saaiman, he's had a little bit of holes in his game, small fight IQ mistakes, but overall, extremely well-rounded in how he's fighting. And quick in and out of range, sound defensively, coming off a very good win versus Mana Martinez. Had a point deduction, but overall still dominated Mana Martinez for the most part. And Terrence Mitchell on the other side, not a lot of film on this guy. He got knocked out by Kai Kara France before in Tough. And from there, the last footage I could find of Terrence Mitchell in a fight was, I didn't honestly look super hard, but on UFC Fight Pass, it was 2018, and he's not fighting the best competition. Hard to get a read on him. He looks like, lengthy opponent and all that, but I think Simon's just me a bit faster, similar to Kai Kara France in a way, where he can bounce into range and hit him. So I think Cameron Saaiman can find a knockout in this fight. I'm gonna say round one.
Yeah, I really like Cameron Saaiman. He's still only 22 years old, so he's still super young. He's got really nice kicks. He goes body and the head as well. Good leg kicks. He was destroying Mana Martinez with that body kick. That really helped him in that fight. He had a really nice jab as well. He knocked down Amanda Martinez with that. So I like his game. The only worry, is just the nut shots. He's gotten quite a few of those nut shots and point deductions. So I really like him here, but the only worry would just be the point deduction.
Yeah, I feel what makes me feel really good about Cameron Saaiman, other than maybe his age, would be just like he's got the check marks that you want to bet on for a fighter, which is, in my opinion, he can grapple, and he's got cardio, and he's got striking.
He's got a good gas tank.
And gas tank is everything, so...
Kozlo and his Contender Series fight, he finished both those guys in the third round too. So
really looked at the under in this fight as well. I think Terrence Mitchell only gone to decision once or twice, so that would be a good spot for, or just Saaiman by finish. But yeah, Cameron Saaiman, knockout, round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have a rematch. We have Jimmy Crute versus Alonzo Menifield. Taking Alonzo Menifield. Last time we were on Crute, I really thought that Jimmy Crute would improve his striking style, and he's just gotten worse, it seems like. He runs into punches repetitively, and he's got short arms for this weight class, and doesn't protect his hands with his face and just walks into punches. And Menifield, he should have won that last fight if not for a fence grab, which he didn't need to do anyway. He was going to lose the third round just on control time. But yeah, we're going with a knockout for Menifield. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, rematches are never the same. I think Menifield could have got Crute out of there in the first round in the last fight, but he I think it was like the last 10 seconds of that first round is when he knocked him down pretty good, and Crute was able just to grab a leg and survive. But Menifield is just so much powerful. I think he can defend some of the grappling from Crute and find a knockout. Man, he's just so powerful, and Jimmy Crute's so hittable at times. So
yeah, Menifield's really been on a career resurgence, and something I've always thought about Menifield is he's a guy who slows down real fast. But when you watch back this Jimmy Crute fight, their first fight, you'll see that Jimmy Crute's using all of his strength to try to get these takedowns, and Menifield's just spreading out his base, kind of doing the basics, the basic techniques, and not burning energy. And even when Crute did get him to the ground, Menifield did a great job of getting to a hip right away and getting back up. So, I think Crute just exhausts himself trying to go for those takedowns, and then if he's on the feet, he just looks like he's going to run into punches. So, I'm going to take the guy with slightly better fight IQ, still not great fight IQ, and find a knockout as well. It was a miracle for Crute to not get knocked out at the end of that first round, where he got saved by the bell practically, and then hugged onto Menifield's legs at the end of that round. Yeah. But yeah. Menifield, KO, round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Vitor Petrino versus Marcin Prachnio. Taking Petrino here, but what a misplaced line, in my opinion. Prachnio's not a great fighter by any means, but he does have 22 professional fights versus 8 for Petrino. Way more experience. He's been in the UFC. He's fought some pretty decent fighters, but William Knight, obviously, that fight was shit. And I guess just kicking, you can win. And he's faced some other, decent fighters, out-wrestled Khalil Roundtree and outstruck him at times. Petrino, on the other hand, has fairly good boxing, but this guy's also over-swinging, very muscular, and he can slow down from trying to use too much strength. We're going to stick with him for a knockout in the second round, but be careful here. Don't parlay this guy. Even be careful with the unders, in my opinion, because if Prachnio wins, it's probably by decision, and if Petrino wins, it's probably by knockout. So, what are you thinking?
Yeah, Petrino is just super powerful. With literally every punch he throws, he's swinging for the fences. In his last fight against Anton, it was 1-1 going into the third round, and he just I guess, out cardioed Anton. I mean, there was like positions where there were like switching, reversing positions on the ground. It was just really weird. But Petrino ended up getting that decision win there, and I think that was a good learning experience for him to get the 3 rounds in. But yeah, I mean, Petrino just super powerful. I think he'll be able to find the chin up of Prachnio.
Yeah, he does actually have a pretty good jab. If you guys see with the boxing, that lead left hand is actually pretty good. The step in right isn't quite as good. But with Anton too, I felt like at times he would hurt him real bad, and then he'd watch him recover. And I think that he lost a lot of opportunities there. As you were saying, with kind of like reversing positions with Petrino, he got his back taken by Anton and Balado on his Contender Series fight in reverse from back position super easily. Just turned his hips over, got right back on top. So kind of weird stuff there.
Yeah, and then he would be in mount, and then he'd get reversed.
Right. And Prachnio, in my opinion, he's just not special anywhere, and it doesn't tell you a lot. But again, the number on this fight, be real careful. In my opinion, dogger pass or just ignore completely this fight. So Petrino, KO, round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Kameula Kirk versus Esteban Ribovics. Taking Esteban here. Really like what I see from Esteban in terms of the striking and the movement. He just had a tough go in his last fight, faced Radzhabov, but that dude is way too big for the weight class. All wrestling for the most part, and he stepped into some punches, got hit real bad at times, but overall, he was facing just a majority wrestler. Kirk in this situation really isn't that fighter. He's not really great anywhere. If I want to make a comparison, kind of even Prachnio. Prachnio is really not that great anywhere. I just see Kirk as not quite UFC caliber type of guy. And something I just really like about Esteban's game with the striking is he keeps his punches real straight. He'll move laterally really well and step one foot in and do a punch. So he's got the momentum of his movement and his punch together. And I think that volume just doesn't accumulate here on Kirk. And I'm seeing a second round knockout for Ribovics. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I like Ribovics as well. They were scheduled to fight in March, and then Kirk pulled out. I mean, Ribovics is super powerful. In his last fight, I mean, yeah, that was a lot of wrestling. But, before then, and even still in that fight, he was actually doing better than I thought he was going to.
Right.
And, he's super powerful, and I think he finds a knockout here.
Yeah, if you look at that fight too, a lot of the time Radzhabov gets him to the ground, and Ribovics is always fighting to get up, so there's like good signs even when he's getting taken down. He did get hit with some big shots early too and survive, so also a good sign for his chin. Kameula Kirk as well, moving up a weight class for this, and that's just shaky in general. He didn't look that great at 145, and you're coming up here facing a very natural sized opponent here in Ribovics, and he's gonna have a hard time, I think, dealing with that. So I just feel like Ribovics here. He also has good counters. You watch the Contender Series fight, I think he fought the deaf guy that like Michael Bisping was hyping up, and then he flatlined him. So Ribovics KO round 2. Okay, for the next fight we have Yasmin Yair. I can't always know if I say that last name right, but versus Denise Gomes. Huge fan of both of these chick fighters, and honestly, such a crazy good matchmaking for the strawweight division here. Taking Yasmin in this fight, I just feel like her grappling is going to be better, and that's going to be kind of the main component. And Denise Gomes, absolute dog though. In her Contender Series fight, kind of started a little bit slow, came back, really good at range with the striking, has a really good feel for the defensive striking, and that really showed in her Bruna Brazil fight, where Bruna Brazil looked like she made Bruna Brazil look like a fucking child. But if you look at the takedowns in the Loma Lukbumi fight, who's not even primarily known as a grappler, she's a Muay Thai girl. She took down Denise Gomes in many situations and kind of kept her there. I think the striking in this fight will be very close on the feet, and I think the price tag on Yasmin is way too high. However, the grappling edge, I have to give to Yasmin. I think she takes this fight to the ground and gets some control time and wins some minutes there. So I'm thinking decision, and I like the over whenever that line comes out for this fight. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, both these chicks are super young too, 24 and 23. Yasmin, in her last fight, she got clipped at the beginning of that one, and Gomes has pretty good power. But yeah, I mean, I just see Yasmin being a little bit better everywhere, especially on the ground here.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, this will probably be one of those fights down the road where they'll probably face each other again in like 2 or 3 years when they're back towards the higher rankings at strawweight. So, yeah, Yasmin by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Shannon Ross versus Jesus Aguilar. Taking Shannon Ross as an underdog in this fight, I'm not impressed with really what Jesus Aguilar really has to offer. This dude's reach is ridiculously small, and his fight style is it's very wild and inconsistent. He's got a crazy fast guillotine, and I think that's how he finished, however many of his fights, just pulling guillotine, and it's good and all, but his punches, man, they're uncoordinated, they're wild, they rarely connect on the chin, and I just don't know if he's going to hit those punches. And I could easily see Shannon Ross just taking rounds 2 and 3 in this fight, being a little bit more consistent on the feet. Also in the big cage, so maybe he can work his footwork a little bit more and find a decision here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, pointed out Aguilar's reach. I mean, 62 inches, and 62 inches is just really short. Probably one of the shortest in the UFC. His primary way of winning is pulling a guillotine. I think if he's not able to do that, I think Shannon Ross will be able to win this on the feet here.
I think Corey McKenna, her reach is 58 inches. It's kind of bizarre to think that like a guy has a reach very close to that as well. So, Shannon Ross, though, his downfall, like you guys already know, his chin, probably the hardest part. He got rocked a lot by Vinicius Salvador. He also like keeps his chin up. Like he doesn't like protect his head with his elbows, like hammer blocks, or just keeping his fist by his chin. And I think that's gonna be a problem for him over time. But like I said, Aguilar has a really hard time connecting with the chin. Steve Erceg didn't exactly just take down Ross. He knocked him down from a punch and then submitted him. And Clydeson Rodriguez is a really good athlete. Can't really blame him there. I just think Shannon Ross, he'll bring something to this fight and surprise a lot of people on this decision. Aguilar with his grappling too. You watch that Contender Series fight, he's pulling guys on top of him with takedowns. He's lifting them up and they're falling on top of him. Like Dricus du Plessis has some of those takedowns. So not a great sign. And the Turkish Delight will take by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Robbie Lawler versus Niko Price. UFC, come on, Robbie, just retire at this point, dude. I do think that Robbie looked pretty good in his last fight versus Barberena until the knockout. I'm just going to stick with Niko Price. It's hard to stay motivated, I think, at the age of 41. Like, what is going through Robbie Lawler's head in these fights before heading into war? And Niko Price, not the best fighter, runs into a lot of punches, has worn so much damage, really not much technique. However, I think just over time, Niko will want this a little bit more and take the win in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a good fight if they're just trading a bunch of blows. But I saw Niko Price was training with Ben Askren, so maybe he get some wrestling going. But I don't know if the crowd's like cheering him, egging him on. I don't know if he is gonna go wrestle, but he could just want to trade blows for blows. And yeah, I mean, Robbie Lawler at 41 years old now. I mean, he looked decent in his last one until Barberena poured it on him. But yeah, I think we just got to stick with Price here.
Yeah, I mean, Lawler's got really good head movement. Like, if you remember his last fight, and I'd say a couple fights, like even the Colby Covington fight where Colby threw like 300 significant strikes, Robbie kind of always keeps his head bouncing off the center line at this point in his career. But he's not mounting as much offense at this point, and it's kind of hard for him to keep up. I really, really hope that Robbie wins, but it's an uphill battle at this age. And yeah, I'm not even... Niko Price is crazy and all, and he's Florida, kind of like white trash type of guy. But I don't know. He's just probably going to bring a little bit more to this fight. And Niko Price, I got him down for here for a decision. Total possibility of a knockout, but...
yeah, I mean, Robbie Lawler is pretty tough, too. I mean, both of them are. So I can definitely see it going to decision.
If you look at that Barberena fight, too, it was a standing TKO, and I believe it started with some shots to the body and then caught him with one or two punches, and it was like a 10-punch combination with him on the cage.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Niko Price by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Dan, the Hangman Hooker, versus Jalin, the Tarantula Turner. Taking Jalin Turner. I was against this guy for picks like in the last year. I didn't think he was as good as what he was, and he's on a complete tear. Minus the Gamrot thing. We all know Gamrot did no damage in that fight, but man, Turner's just shown a really good diversity to his game. He's obviously huge at lightweight, and that's what I really liked about him here. And he fights with range really well. He's got long punches, good step-in kicks, and knees, and fast hands. Dan, super experienced, fought a lot of big fighters, slows down a little bit when fights get deep because he gets in a lot of wars. And he's been tagged a little bit in his time. Since that Dustin Poirier fight, just hasn't looked like quite the same fighter on the stand-up. So I'm thinking this fight could be either a knockout or a club and sub, and I'm sticking with club and sub for Jalin Turner. He just showed such long limbs and taking advantage of positions when he gets the fight to the ground. So I'm thinking first or second round. I'll let you decide the round.
Yeah, he uses his length really well. He's like 6'3" or whatever he is at lightweight, that's got to be one of the tallest in lightweight. But he's super well-rounded, like you said. He's got really, really good stand-up and has a decent jiu-jitsu game. I mean, he just got out-wrestled by Gamrot, but I mean, Gamrot's like one of the better wrestlers here. But for Hooker, I mean, like you said, he takes a ton of damage. He's really entertaining, though. I mean, I think this will be probably one of the better fights on the card. But I just think Turner will be a little bit better, and yeah, I like the club and sub.
I think really what you're going to probably see from Dan Hooker here is him to implement the calf kick, because that's where I really saw Dan Hooker take his career turn, is when he implemented that calf kick on people like Paul Felder, Dustin Poirier. It's just that like investment to win the later rounds. So the technique he'll probably be using here will be just kicking Jalin Turner's lead leg. And it might be an investment that helps or hurts because Turner's so long that even when he throws those kicks, Turner could just intercept him with a punch right there. So another thing, what's going to be really weird for both these guys, although Turner did have some time at welterweight, both these guys have like always been the bigger, taller guy in their fights with the longer reach. So a fight like this will be interesting to see who kind of can deal with each other's size better because they're both very long. But yeah, I think Turner, fast, great combinations in some of his fights, like when he fought Malarkey, put him down. and very accurate with his punches like recently. So I'm on the upswing here. I'm with Turner. Anything else you got?
I mean, he's still only 28 years old too, man. He's improving a lot from when he first started in the UFC. So I really like what I've seen from him.
I think my initial judgment of Turner got messed up a little bit too when Vicente Luque knocked him out real bad at welterweight. But hey, Luque was on a tear. Turner was and he got in the way of him. So at lightweight though, yeah, whole new fighter. So Jalin Turner submission round 1. Okay, for the next fight we have Robert Whittaker versus Africa's own Dricus du Plessis. Kind of bizarre that this fight is going to be the 4th to last fight. You'd kind of imagine that this would be like a co-main, but since we have some title fights, obviously International Fight Week. However, this fight should for sure be above Bo Nickel versus Tresean Dorr. If it's not by the time of the fight card, that's pretty ridiculous. Picking Robert Whittaker, you guys know why. I mean, experience, consistency, striking, grappling, advantage everywhere, maybe other than just power in the hands, and that's kind of how I see it. What do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, super well-rounded Whittaker is. I mean, everywhere. Maybe he gets chin, but I highly doubt it. He's got that long kickboxing. I think what he did to Vitor in his last fight was super impressive. He probably hurt Vitor more in that fight than maybe what Cannonier did, because Vitor was really
he was like almost out on his feet for some moments from those head kicks.
Yeah, and I'm not. Well, what happens if they fought 2 more rounds in that one? I think Whittaker maybe finishes Vitor.
Right.
He was really piecing him up. So
something I always like to think about with Whittaker is he seems, obviously he's lost Adesanya's second fight, a lot more controversy on how those rounds got scored, but what I really like about him is whoever Izzy kind of puts a duller fight on with, Whittaker usually takes the fight to him and messes him up. Like Yoel Romero, for example, Jared Cannonier, Kelvin Gastelum, I'll let that one be because, Adesanya and him have a crazy one. But then Marvin Vettori, like the fact that Adesanya couldn't do what Cannonier and Whittaker did to him is always kind of strange to me, because you just think that Adesanya would do more. But I see a knockout in this fight, and I think it's going to happen over time. If you watch that Vettori fight with Whittaker, the first round started pretty slow, and you just see Whittaker getting the feel for things. And du Plessis will probably start real fast, so du Plessis might win round 1 just off of output. But then round 2 slows down further. Round 3, I think Whittaker hits him with his signature combo, which is just quick punch and a head kick. It's just like putting the right hand out there as a feeler, and then right behind it, that head kick where he caught Vettori. He's caught so many people with it, and du Plessis, the way he blitzes in, it's no bueno. And yeah, I think Whittaker can really piece him apart when du Plessis really tries to do the blitz technique. Yeah, Whittaker he knocked out Brunson real bad off Brunson doing that. So it's a similar type of style. So yeah, the only scare would be du Plessis' power. Obviously, Whittaker's seen a lot of good striking, so staying with the Reaper Bobby Knuckles for a 3rd round knockout. Okay, for the next fight we have Bo Nickel versus Tresean Dorr, a combined 10 fights in MMA, and on the third to last fight here, gotta go with Tresean Dorr, or just kidding, Bo Nickel here, by submission. I'm just going to say in the first round. However, Tresean Dorr did show some pretty good takedown defense through his tough fights and other times, so it'd be interesting on that cage when Bo Nickel's facing a really strong guy in Tresean Dorr trying to get that takedown, and Nickel could have troubles, just like he did with Jamie fucking Pickett, where he had to get a nut shot to get the takedown, and then worked his way to the sub. So I'm gonna stick with a submission for Niko, but I don't fully trust Niko yet. I need more. I need more fight time. I need to see more. What do you think?
Yeah, of course we need to see more. I think Gore will be so focused on defending the takedown. I think Niko can do what he did in one of his Contender Series fight, is just like throw a overhand, and then if it connects, I mean, he's already in range there and can get the takedown right there. So I think Niko will try to do that and blitz in, and if he connects, he'll probably get him taken down pretty easily.
It is a pretty great technique. Like Hamzat would do that too. Hamzat
Right.
would show the overhand and then just go straight for the ledge, and it's kind of just like you have to guess
Like
which one.
Yeah, you're already in range, and now you're getting right into that takedown. So, yeah, I think of course Bo Nickel's gonna win.
It'll be interesting. I mean, Bo Nickel questionable in his last fight, obviously tearing through other people. I need to see more. Even in the stand-up, he's throwing a lot of high energy things because he's got a lot of hype on his name.
Yeah.
I'm sure his cardio is good, but dude, when you got 4 fights and you head into like a fight with somebody you're not just gonna demolish, I'm really curious what's gonna happen, because he probably will just adrenaline dump on all these guys until he finds somebody that he can't just do that to. So I want to see Gore maybe defend a takedown or two and then put Bo Nickel out there and see what he's got. So
Yeah, I want to see him at least go to the second round. Nickel's never been past that first round, so.
if you're talking about Gore's losses too, Brian Battle, not a bad loss. Cody Brundage, somewhat of a bad loss, but it also seemed somewhat like a fluke win. Like it seemed like one punch caught Gore, and then he was just kind of out, and when it went to the ground. And yeah, be careful here.
After seeing Brundage's last performance, man. Ooh.
I like the under in this fight. That's the one thing I'll say. But I bet you the under 1.5 will be like minus 300, just like the Pickett fight was. So
yeah,
be a little careful there as well. So Bo Nickel, submission, round 1. Okay, for the co-main event in the flyweight belt, we have Brandon Moreno versus Alexander Pantoja. Picking Brandon Moreno here. This is going to be an incredibly close fight, and I think it's going to be just a round-for-round type deal. These flyweight fights very commonly come down to this because it's hard for these guys to put each other away, especially both of these guys who have really good chins, hard to knock them out, hard to finish them, great grapplers. And I just think over time, though, Brandon Moreno's got some really good 5-round experience. He's got a good gas tank, and I could see Pantoja winning rounds 1 and 2, but 3, 4, 5. And Moreno is a different fighter since their first fight. I gotta go with Moreno by decision. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, this is technically their third one, being the exhibition Ultimate Fighter finale. That was in 2016, and then their next fight was in 2018, and now we're in 2023, and Moreno is 29 years old now. So, I mean, he's like just getting into his prime now, which this fight is going to be completely different than those two that Pantoja won. Like you said, I think it'll be super close, round for round. Who's going to land the harder punches? Who's going to get the better of them? I think it's going to come down to a round. I think it's going to be a close decision, and I think with the 5-round experience, I think Moreno's going to take it home.
I really like the over at this fight. I'm assuming it's going to be put at 4.5. And Brandon Moreno, if you just watch, like you were just talking about with his fight 5 years ago against Pantoja, just look at the difference. If you watch that fight to now in Moreno's style, he's got his hands up better. He's not running in to throw punches. He's using a jab now, and it's like experienced range a little bit better. Pantoja does use that lead calf kick at times, but Moreno's experienced it now with Figueiredo, where he's had to pull his leg back and gotten used to that. Moreno also just went toe-to-toe with Cara France in the striking, who probably you could call maybe the best striker in the division. I know he got knocked out by Moreno, but it was a very close fight on the feet they had. And Pantoja, a lot to offer. I really like about Pantoja is he's always been moving forward, so that's a scare for this fight if you're betting on Moreno. The judges may see it as Pantoja is pressuring the entire fight, and Moreno's going to be probably circling. I like Moreno use some grappling. If you guys have watched the Brandon Royval, the Askarov fight, you'll see that Alexander Pantoja slows down after using like a lot of muscle in his grappling. So maybe Brandon Moreno tries to hold him down for a couple minutes, even though he's a great grappler, and just burn out the arms a little bit because he is a pretty strong guy.
Both. I mean, Pantoja's never been finished before, so I definitely do like that over. But maybe they set it at 3.5 because since their last fight, 2018, Pantoja's all of his wins, he's finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 6 of his wins. Only decision was the Manel Cap one. So maybe they look at that, but yeah, I mean, I think it's most likely 4.5. What the over/under will be set at.
Right, Moreno showed such a good scrambling ability. I think on the ground it would be tough for Pantoja to really secure any positions other than back control. Maybe if he just got that for a split moment with a body triangle, and then that would just like delete a round. But even if he did that, it probably would wear out his legs and be a detriment to him down the road. But this will be back and forth. Look at the split decision prop for this fight. Honestly, I think this one's going to be one of the fight of the year contenders before watching it, just because of Pantoja's style, which is like pretty much terminate, and Brandon Moreno's style, which is like, you know, being tough and staying in the fight. So
yeah, both these guys super tough, super durable. They're going to be trading shots, blow for blow. So I mean, yeah, that has all the making of one of the fight of the year contenders.
Yes, sir. Brandon Moreno by decision. Okay, guys, for the main event, we got Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez. Guys, please drop a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Again, we're getting you guys some nice picks, some nice bets. Okay, for the main event, we're taking Volk. I mean, it's hard to go against Volk in this fight. I don't feel that confident about it, I'll be honest. Yair has a style which takes away like the skill set of a lot of his opponents, and a lot of his style is you playing into his game, which I don't like for Volkanovski in this case. A big part of what makes Volkanovski great is that reach he has at his size, and Yair doesn't really depend on reach to win fights. He's body kicking you. He's using his legs are his real reach. So a truly scary fight, in my opinion, if you're betting Volkanovski. I just think in this one, Volk will do what similar to what Max Holloway did and just try to get this fight to the ground and work his way from there. He's going to have to win minutes in the control time because I think Yair is just a lot to handle. And as this fight goes on, rounds 4 and 5, I think Volk's still going to be fresher and able to win those minutes. What do you think, Jen?
Yeah, I do like that for Volk. I do think he can win minutes on the ground. But I mean, the scare would be the submission game of Yair, seeing what he did to Josh Emmett. I think Yair with those kicks, I mean, Max Holloway hurt Volkanovski with a head kick. I think Yair can do the same here. His legs are super long. He uses it. He uses his leg reach really well as well.
Probably the best at it.
Yeah, he's incredible at it. But yeah, like you said, Volkanovski, man, he's just a different breed. It's hard to pick against him, but it's also hard to bet him when he's minus 450 or whatever he is now. But
and like
super. I think this will be a super good fight. I think Yair can win some minutes here. But Volkanovski by decision, I think, is what we're looking at.
And I think people get obsessed with the idea of like Volkanovski's this great fighter, and there's no doubt he is. But styles make fights, and in this type of a fight, it's gonna be so freaking hard. I think for Volk and a lot of these, it's gonna be a fucking hard first 2 or 3 rounds. And just with the way Yair throws kicks. I mean, Josh Emmett is a similar frame to Volkanovski, and those body kicks are just brutal, and they're fast, and you can't see them coming, and they can work their way up to your face real fast. So, Volk getting into range and having to deal with that can be really tough. The step-in knees from Yair can be a big deal. And another thing, even with the takedowns of Volkanovski, if you watch Yair's fights, he's like throwing elbows like Tony Ferguson from bottom position on the top of your skull, up kicking. He's doing whatever he can to win the fight. So both these guys probably got the best mentalities in the in this division. I mean, obviously Max Holloway up there as well. But they both worked really fucking hard, put on a great fight. And I think the odds are off on this one. I'll be honest. And it's not because Volkanovski's not a great fighter. It's just because of the style of matchup. It's going to be a kicking game versus a smaller fighter. And a lot of times the kicker can implement his will there. So
yeah, I mean, if we look back at Volkanovski's fight against Brian Ortega, I mean, Volkanovski was like minus 180, and now he's minus 450 against Yair Rodriguez, man. I mean, that doesn't make too much sense to me, but
right.
I mean, it's hard to pick against Volk. I mean, so that's why it's like that. But
another thing to consider: who's the last kicker that Volkanovski's faced? I can't think of one. Like Max Holloway has some good kicks, but he's a boxer for the most part, and Volk was able to outbox him. And then like Ortega doesn't kick, Zombie doesn't kick, and Islam doesn't kick. So like in that fight, it's hard to say how exactly things are going to play out. And yeah, if you're playing the over, I'd say stay away. If you're playing Volk, I'd say stay away. I'd say this is honestly dog or pass type of fight. And even Yair just by knockout, I think is something to look at. Those body kicks could add up. And yeah.
I mean, he could be poking body, and then bring one up over the top and hit him in the head. I mean, Max Holloway stunned Volk with a head kick, so I could definitely see that happening. But yeah, it's hard to pick against Volk.
Yeah, I mean, overall takedowns. That's to me the end game plan throughout this fight, and that 5-round cardio. Yair's got good cardio, but man, that ground and pound as well as Volkanovski could add up over time. So, all right, guys, Volkanovski by decision. International Fight Week. Good luck.
I know. It doesn't matter from the trenches. I'm built like this. The old doubted me said I couldn't do it. The old said I couldn't do it. Look at me now.